Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's live stream of Question Time. So, what is Question Time? Question Time is a chance for you to ask me any question you want regarding game dev, Unreal Engine, or anything you want at all. Totally up to you. All you got to do is put your question into chat, and I'll try and grab as many as questions as I can within the hour that we're here. So, hello everyone in chat. Thank you for joining us live. Hello Super J. Hello Deathhead. Ivex. iFox. Sorry. Leader. Hello Jacovi. Hello Rob. Good to see everyone is joining us live. It's exciting to be back. Yeah, let's jump into answering some questions straight away. Let's jump over to Unreal. And let's take a look. So we've got our first question here from Leader Ozaya. Question: how to calculate damage while having shields attached to you as actors? The triggers only loop to next shield actor if damage greater than this shield absorb. So a bit difficult to understand. Hang on. How to calculate damage while having shields attached to you as actors. The triggers to only loop to the next shield actor if a damage greater than this shield absorb. I'm not too sure about what you mean by the second half of that question, Leader. But we can definitely try and answer some of that questions there. So I'm going to go through and create a basic target dummy that I can hit. Target dummy. And we'll just do something very simple. Let me know if the audio levels are a bit too much. I feel like the audio in Spotify might be a bit too much. Let me bring it down a bit. Let me know how that sounds there. Okay, so we'll go to mesh over here. I'm just going to pick my little yellow dude that I typically always pick. There he is. And bring him down. Like so. Okay, so we are going to take a look at taking damage on him. So we go to the event graph. We're going to do the damage event. And there we are. And so let's do a basic just health system. Okay. I'm going to make it print string the damage coming from the health, from the attack there. Okay. Very simple. Nothing major. I'm then going to do a very simple attack on my player character. So no animation. I'm just going to make it just do like a sphere trace or something. So I'll do left mouse button. And we'll do a sphere trace. And we'll do get player character. No, wait, we want to play character. What am I doing? Get actor location. Put that there. Get player camera manager. Get the actor forward vector. So, by the way, I've seen a lot of people ask questions like, how do you do like a line trace or sphere trace, whatever, for like interactions and inventory systems for a third-person character? It'd be like this. So, you're using the actor's location for the start point, but the end point is based upon your camera's rotation. So, you take that, multiply this, but you do have to take into account the spring arm's length. So, when we convert it to float, make sure it's longer than the target arm length. So, I'm going to put in here 1,000. Okay, and then I'm going to add that onto our actor's location. And that is how you do a third person line trace. So, radius here, 20, be fine. We'll change the camera. Draw debug, we'll do for duration. And then we'll take that out of there. Break it open and apply damage to the actor. So, before we do shield stuff, let's just make it actually just apply damage. Like that. Okay. We'll do damage here of 100. Damage causer, self. And that'll do. So, if I were to put my target dummy in the scene. Okay, and whack. You can see the print string over there. I don't know where. It's saying 100. Yeah. So, that's the damage system coming into play. So, so you got, okay, is there any way for, you got, imagine having 3 actors attached to a character. They have a floater shield absorb with 50 points. When you take, if you only get 1 shield left. Right, okay, I think I know what you're trying to do. So, it's kind of like a fake thing. You're not really like, because you can only apply that, you're applying damage to the character, okay? But let's say he has got a shield on him, okay? So I'm going to go into here, add a child actor to this, like this, and I'll make a shield type thing. In fact, actually, I'll delete that, and I'll just make a new shield actor first. Shield, and I'll just do a very simple mesh. I'll do a sphere, and I'll just squish that like that. Okay, very simple. Oh, wrong way. I'm going to turn it around this way. Okay. Right, so there's my shield, so to speak. So if I go to my target dummy and go to his, if I want to add a shield to him, I can add a child actor to it. Okay, so this is what you're probably trying to do when you're attaching actors to it, or you're doing the attach to. Actually, we'll do the attach to in case you're confused by that. So if I do on begin play, I'll do a custom event in here. So add shield, and add shield and get called on begin play. So when I add the shield, I'm going to spawn the shield actor. Spawn actor from class. Choose the shield. Like that. We'll just split that, and we'll attach it. Attach actor to actor, and the parent actor will be self. So by your description, I imagine this is what you're trying to do here. Snap to target, snap to target. Yeah, I'll leave that. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's going to add the shield. I just want to make sure that's actually appearing, and I want to change the shield here to have no collision on it. Very important. I want no collision whatsoever. Okay, so when he spawns in, there you go. He's got his shield. Right. So if you want it to have a number of shields that are linked together, what you are technically doing is you are adding a buffer to it. So when you add the shield, you've got its return value. You want to make that into a variable list, okay? So that'd be a variable array of shield objects. So shield array, and that would be shield object reference into an array, and we're going to add that to our array here. So we make a shield, we add it to this array. So we've got a track now of all the different shields our character has. So next thing we want to do is affect a shield value. So in the variables here, we have shield value, and that would be a float, like that. And I mean, there's a few ways of doing it. So shield value here, when we add a new shield, I get shield value, and I add onto it 50, for example. Okay, and then we set that back to there. Okay, so it will go through and adding those bits onto it. So our target dummy has a shield value being tracked and our shield array being tracked. Now when we take damage, we want to check our shield value first. So we get shield value, subtract our damage from that, and we want it to, we're just going to move that along, shield value, set that shield value, and what we can do is then break it down to say, like, when you lose this amount, we're going to destroy one of the shields. So if shield value we want to do, I mean, a few ways you can do it. Like, for example, we can do divide by 50, which is the amount we're adding on for each shield. That will give us how many it goes into it, and then we'll check that against the length of our array. Length. We'll trunk that. So if this value is different from this value, so if length here is greater than this truncated value, that means I want to destroy a shield array. So we'll put that in there. And we can just remove a shield. So this is just a way of doing it. There's a number of ways you could do it, probably. Oh, not add, remove. Remove index 0. Yep. And when we remove index 0, they all slide along. So you remove one, and it all slides down. So what was become index 1 will become index 0. Yeah, so it does that. Okay. Now to make this a bit more obvious, when I do remove index on here, actually I want to get the index. Actually, get. Oh no, hang on. Before I remove the index, I want to get the index, and I want to destroy this actor. Like this. We probably need to actually store this as a, because we can't destroy it and then remove it, or remove it and destroy it, because we need a reference. So I'm going to promote that to a variable. Can't shield. And put that in there. Remove that index, and then destroy actor will be, because the get won't no longer be valid, so we'll put that into there instead. So that should get rid of those shields. I'm to make it more obvious. I'm going to make the shield do something when it gets destroyed. Event destroyed. We'll just do spawn emitter location explosion get actor location. So we should see an explosion when we lose enough health. Okay. Or enough shield rather. Yeah, see? And if I take to add multiple shields, so if I go back to type dummy, and like simplicity's sake, I'm just going to do add 3 shields to it like this. We should see 3 explosions before the shield goes away. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. I mean, that's, I say, just one way of doing it. But it's kind of, because you still want interaction to hit the enemy and not the shields. So you're not worried about the shields. The shields are just a visual thing to indicate what your shield level is. So worry about that. Over on the question time queue jump over on our Discord channel. This is available to all Patreon members. You can ask a question ahead of time and get support, even if you can't make the thing live. So this question comes from Kozak77. Question 1: how do you go about making a dynamic reach interaction? For example, button push where a character reaches the button location correctly. Here's a couple of bad. Give me some drawings. Yeah. And question 2: in true first-person game, first-person with character body, where camera's attached to head bone, how do you fix a camera clipping through the wall due to aim offset moving down head bone when looking down? Question 3: what is the solution for lip sync, facial reactions, body movement, or runtime dialogue? Kind of like in Hogwarts Legacy and many other games, they can't have used motion capture for each line of dialogue in the whole game. Okay. So question 1, long and short of it, is an IK animation. So I've done a video about IKs. In your animation blueprint, over here. In here, we go to the animation graph, and you could do an IK thing in here. Okay, so like a 2-bone IK, or maybe a CCD IK, or fabric even. Fabric might be alright. You tell it where you want it to go. So you have to pass through the location of the button here and pass that through there. And also you still need an animation to do it, because this would be like an additive thing you want to add on to the animation. But that's basically what you need to do. I don't have an animation to use, but this is where you'll be going. Okay. In question 2, your true first-person game where the camera's attached to head bone, fixing the camera clipping through wall due to aim offset down, moving head bone down when looking down. Okay, so in true first person, I recommend you check out a how-to video I've made where I talk about the make it so you can see your legs of your character, because in reality your camera is actually not attached to the head per se. Okay, it's a little bit further out. But even so, even if you want to keep it the full body like you're trying to do, don't use aim offsets. Make the camera move independently from the rest of the body. Or you can hide the bones if you want to as well. And in question 3, what is the solution for lip sync, facial reactions, body movement, or runtime dialogue? Kind of like Hogwarts Legacy and many other games, they can't have used motion capture for each line of dialogue in the whole game. Yeah, they could have done. So big budget games may well have done like a whole recording of all of the dialogue. May well have done that, especially for like key scenes. But if you haven't got motion capture technology, the actual process would be to do it all by hand. Would be to have I think there's like 15 or 16 different facial poses that your face makes when you talk, and you basically line them up to the words, and it's very long-winded, takes a little bit of time. But we usually have some facial capture of some kind to do the mouth movements. Yeah, typically. But it depends on the budget of the game. But yeah, could well have done for Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, could be well that case. And it's important to note as well, like the head animation, the facial animations, and the body animations are separate. The head animations are called an additive animation, whereas the body is doing its own thing. So you could take the head off and do something else with the face, and body's doing the same thing. So you don't have to like have unique animations for absolutely everything. You can get away with some stuff. This is why you see a lot of NPCs have like generic animations, like, and like, you know, they do generic animations. Okay. So next question. 12:08 a.m. on question time Q jump is asking, loving your UEFN verse tutorials, would it be possible to do one on controlling character animations and possibly adding melee attacks functionality? Thanks, Ryan, very much appreciated. Possibly. Verse is one of those things I'm still learning and still going through. There's obviously a lot to pick up. Yeah, possible. Can't say for sure for certain, but yeah. Thank you for the super chat, DA Clarkism. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much. Next question. I'm just going to scroll around a bit because obviously I missed a few. Super J, what is the best use for assets like the bundle, the Humble Bundle, Unreal Essentials 1? Totally up to you. Use whatever you want. So when I'm building a game and I don't have the art skills to make all these assets, I usually will combine a lot of asset packs together to try and make something that I want. The trick is to figure out uses of these animation packs that are going to be, or animation packs, asset packs, which allow you to use the assets in interesting ways. So, like in Mimic, for example, there's a lot of art assets being reused in interesting, different ways than they originally intended for to get a certain effect, and it looks okay, it looks fine. And that's what the main thing is you want to take away from these asset packs is like, how flexible is it? Can you get away with quite a lot with this? And also think about ways you can manipulate the materials, manipulate the vertex colors, the decals, things like that to really make it your own and really customize it to your liking. Yeah, DA Clarkism, lipsync. Yeah, like, yeah. It's either going to be facial capture or an AI based thing. Yeah. You just talk into it and it will register what movements you make. Yeah, pretty old school tech. Haze, is there a better way to apply damage once than with a delay? When you trace for a sword hit, for example, you get multiple hits within one attack. How can I prevent that? So if you're doing the multiple trace per hit type thing, you want to do, hold on, again, I don't have the animation, but let's say, for example, you have your custom event for your attack, okay, and your attack is then doing the play montage, which itself has the line trace doing all its things on it, okay. You've got a couple of things you can do. First of all, you can make the enemy receiving damage to have like a cooldown on how much damage it can take from a single hit, okay. The second thing you can do is when you do let me just do a line trace here. Line trace by channel. Okay, so when you are doing the which is what I think you're talking about, the delay, yeah, it's a cooldown basically when you take damage. When you are sending a hit trace with a line trace over with a sword, when you're doing that sort of thing, it is tricky because you're probably doing this like a for loop. Yeah. What you want to do is use a for loop with a break. Okay. So you go loop body there, and when it hits successfully, you can do call the break event here. Break, for example. So we call break. Okay, so you obviously apply damage before you do that, but that'll break the for loop from doing any more line traces. Now, if you are doing it with regards to the damage you're dealing with it, when you do the attack, you want to keep track of who you're attacking. So if you want to hit multiple enemies in front of you with one attack, but only hit them once each, you want to keep track of who you're hitting. So you just add your hit actor here to an array. Promote to variable. I made that an array. Yep. And then we just do hit actor. Add unique. Unique means it's only going to add one copy of it. It's not going to add any duplicates. So you do that. That'll go through there. Blah, 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 blah. And register that into the list here. When the thing is completed, or even before that, when you do the attack, or whatever it may be, like this, you want to clear this hit actor list. So you go here and you clear and put that in. So you clear the actor list before you do the attack, so it's empty. As you go through the attack, it will line trace multiple times around. Every time it hits one, it'll add that to its list of recognized hits. If you want it to hit only one enemy, use a break. If you want to hit any enemy, don't use a break. You just keep adding them to that list until you get to the end. You need to just check to make sure before you apply damage, do you already have this one added to the list? Does it exist already there? So, for example, in here, we just do contains item, plug in the hit actor, put that into our branch. If it's true, if it's false, it'll do this, and then apply damage. Okay, to that. Okay, so that'd be the way you'd get around doing that if you're doing a hit trace system. I've Fox Studio. Hi, can you make a video about the newest procedural content generation framework to create some generation system of corridors with some rooms that create some procedural generated house? Yeah, eventually. So the procedural content generation is a new tool brought into Unreal 5.2. I've started doing tutorial videos on it from things that I've learned while messing around with it. Obviously, it's still new. I'm still new to it. Still learning a few things. But we can definitely work out a way of doing the procedural house type stuff with it. No doubt, I'm sure. But eventually we'll get there. Okay, well, I've got to learn it first and figure it out first, and then I'll be able to interpret and translate it over to everyone as a teaching thing, for sure. Hi Ryan, is it possible to apply a displacement map on terrain? Not so much anymore in Unreal 5, as we kind of use nanite and things like that for that. But in Unreal 4, yes. You can or use a height if you're doing landscape, so you can use it as a height map. When you go into landscape, you can create import from file. Click on that, and you choose the height map file here. So if you've got like a grayscale height map file, bring that in. As long as it's got enough resolution and get detail, you should be fine. You might just have to tweak the scale of this a bit. Oh. Next question. Mostafa Yahi. I have a player in my level and I want when the player is closest to the object, I want to make another camera to rotate to the object to show detail. So I know how to make it. And thanks. Hang on, I'm trying to understand. I have a player in my level and I want when the player is closest to the object, I want to make another camera to rotate to the object to show details. Are you doing like an inspection system, Mustafa? Like, you got an item in you and you click on it and you can spin it around and things. Because I've got a video on that already. Just check that out. So, hey, very important question. Is everything okay on your end, Ryan? You seem a bit down today. Hope life is treating you well. Yeah, I'm okay. I just feel a bit sick today. I don't know what's wrong. A bit nauseous. I'm a bit better now than I was earlier, but still very, like, funny tummy. But no, I'm alright. Thank you. Thank you for the concern. Alistair Morgan, how can blueprints be configured to offset towards the interior of a linear closed loop spline? Oh. Good question. It's the interior part that's tricky, because how can you make it figure out what the interior is? Because you can go either way. Not too sure. Yeah, could you do that? What are you trying to? Oh, here you go. For right vector, get right vector at distance along the spline. I mean, yeah, you can get the right vector at distance along the spline, but it's not always going to be the right vector. It could be the left vector, depending on which way you've closed the loop. I mean, let's do a little exploration. So I'm not entirely certain. Spline, or whatever I do. Go to here. Let's add a spline. Okay, so if I drag that into my scene like this, and let's make a simple loop here. And I'll make it closed by clicking on spline here and doing closed loop. And we'll just move that around a bit. Okay, so there's our loop. Now, yes, we could get it to do something on the inside of it, but it's figuring out what the inside is. Do I still offer one? Yes, I do still offer one-to-one training. It's an email on the 6th of the 2nd of 6th. I thought I responded to everyone. I'll have a look. I'll have to have a look on emails. It might have gone in junk. I'll double check, but I'll email you back. Linear, if it matters. What do you mean linear? Can't be linear if it's closed. What are you trying to do? Oh, you're doing it like a snappy. Oh, okay, that's not the hard part. The hard part is working out if you're taking the right vector or the left vector of the line. Because I could have done the line like that, or I could move this all like this, and it would go around the other way, like in this circle. Maybe go around this circle here. So yeah. I mean, do an example of what we could do. So on the construction script here, I can get the spline. So if you want to get the right vector of any point along the spline, or work out a distance along the spline, first of all, let's get distance along the spline. So the spline, we're going to get the spline length. And on the spline length, we are going to then divide that by the amount of space we want in here, or how many things we want. So divide it by 8. Sure. And then on the construction script here, we're going to do a truncate into a loop. And put that into the last index there. And put that through there. Yeah, so that's if you want to find the center of all the points. Yeah, you can average them out, but it's not the average. You want to be a loci of points. That's what I think you're talking about. So yeah, let's get a distance along the spline point first. So spline get location at distance along spline, and we'll do divide by 8. No, wait, sorry, not divide by 8. Divide by 200. Truncate, and then we'll just multiply this by 200. Multiply by 200. And I'll go to distance, world, and I'm just going to do add static mesh component. Oh, let's actually change to local. There you go. Because I can make this, split that into there. And then on here, I'll just make this a simple object. A cone, for example. Okay, so if I go into my thing here, you can see it's spawned in all the cones along the line. Okay, now if I want to spawn on the inside of the line, this one's simple enough, it's just the right vector of it. So to get the right vector of a line, the location of it, you need to get the direction of the line first of all. So you get spline, and you get direction at distance along spline, and plug that into there. Keep it local. But then we want to take the return value here and get the right vector of this rotation. So we want to, you can't, oh wait, here you go, find the right vector closest to the world location. Boom, there you go, we'll just use that. So we'll do that. Find right vector, so we drag that into there. World location into there, change that to world. Yeah, there you go. And that gets us a local coordinate space of that right vector. I'm going to multiply that by a value. So float 50. And we add it onto here. And that'll give us the inside line of this particular spline. Which it should do. Oh, it's way over here. I'm doing that. What's wrong here? Get location along distance along spline. Find right vector closest to world location. So get world location, coordinate space, local. I'm going to change this to world here. And I'm going to transform this location here. From inverse transform. I always get these two mixed up. I can never remember it. I don't know why. Into inverse transform location. Get actor transform. And put that into there. Now we'll do it. Yeah, there you go. So now it puts it all on the inside of the line. But, as I mentioned, the problem is that this is only the right vector. If I were to do it this way round, it will now go on the outside of the line. See the problem? So it's kind of like, well, how the hell can we make it know which way to go? And it gets even trickier because, like, we could probably do something like working out the angle between, like, if it's got an acute angle between the one point and the next. Because if it is no, not next one. How would that work? Oh no, there'll be something along that. I'm not entirely certain how you could make it work it out. There's probably a mathematical way to do it, and that's probably finding out which direction is closer. I guess you could do like the center point, as Solheim was saying earlier, and then work out and get the direction towards the center, but it's not direction towards the center you want. It's okay. I think I know how you do it. It's quite involved. So we first of all have to average out all the points to get the center point. So I'll make a function to do that. Get average center. And for that, I'm going to get the spline. Get spline points. Number of spline points, sure. subtract that from there. Take away 1. And then we do a for loop. And put that into our last index here. We then want to grab each spline point's location. Location at spline point. That point index will be there. Make this the world location. And then we want to get the average of all these. So we need to make them into an array and then work out the average. So if I do a local variable, not a array of locations. There's no way to me get all the locations already. Get don't seem like it. Alright, fine enough. Alright, so in here we just do vector array, drag that out and do add. Oof, and oof. We then want to average these array locations. So you take the array of locations. Can we do sum with this? No, we can't. Okay. Can we do what do we have access to here? Random array item. I guess I don't actually need the array. I can just add it as I go. What am I doing? We'll just do mean location. And that'd be a single vector. So I'll take the mean location and we're going to add this vector to it. And we keep adding all the vectors to it. Like that. And on completed here, we're going to divide the mean location by integer, which should be the number of spline points in there. And that'll give us the mean location. Right, so the mean location will give us that. And then on the construction script here, to work out the average center. And what I'm actually going to do is I'll do a debug on this as well. So draw debug sphere at this location here. Radius 100. We'll do a radius of like 50. Line color, I'll make it a bit more bold so people can see it. Duration, we'll do 50. Thickness, I'll do 5. So we should see it work out the center. So there's a circle there. So as I move the points around, that center will change. Yeah, like that. So that's good. That works. So now I've got the center point on the event graph here. Not event graph, construction script. Sorry, we've got the average center. I should really output that. Actually, I'll make this a. Can I not change it to a thing easily? Bollocks. Okay. We should do a return node. Return node. Plug it in, and then plug in the mean location into there. Okay, so we got the location coming out here. So now we've got the location, we can work out, we want to get the direction between each point and this output get. And that would indicate the direction that I want to go in, or help us get the direction we want to go in. So I'm just going to promote that to a variable here. Mean point, call it that. Put that there. Okay. We then are going to want to do what are we going to want to do? Right, we need to get a direction between each point and the mean point. So center point location, spline point this damn thing's in the way. I've got a bloody React thing in the way. I can't see your comment. Hang on. Let me move it across. Center point minus spline point location. Not necessarily, because it doesn't really tell us anything. It just tells us the difference. It doesn't tell us that. So what we need to do is get the direction between their points, and then get the dot direction of the right vector of each point, and that will help us tell us which way we need to go. So if I this right vector is not going to work, is it? This is just a right vector. I guess no, that's going to be a right vector. Oh no, I could just flip it. That'd be fine. So we're going to multiply this here by 50 by 1 or minus 1. So we do select float, and we'll do 1 minus 1. So the pick A is knowing which direction each point is going in. So this individual point that's coming in, we should be able to determine if they're going towards the center of it or not. I mean, this is still not going to work for things that crisscross over, I don't think, but hey-ho. Right, so let's get the directions. So I need to get the location at distance along spline points, and we want to get this mean point here, and we go direction, get unit direction from that to that. Actually, I want to go the other way around to that, and I want to compare that to the right vector here. So we'll do a dot product of these two. Dot product of the right vector and that one. And if it's a right vector, yeah, if it's a right vector, this should output 1 or minus 1. I don't know. I just realized I can just sign this. I don't have to do anything crazy with this. I'll just sign it. There we go. We'll see if that sign works. It might have to flip it. That's a watch tool. Is that them? Way down there? What's this? Nope, that's nothing there. Where are they? Oh, wait, I haven't hooked it up, have I? Yeah, there you go. Right, back up here. Okay. So now they're on the inside of this, but if I was to turn this around, have it this way. See? I told you, like, when it goes crisscross like this, it gets a bit confusing. But, there we go. It now works at the inside of the line. Top chop. So, yeah, so to explain how that's working, basically imagine we're drawing a line from the point on the line on the spline here towards the center, and then we're looking at the right vector of that point on the line as well. Now, if they're the same or close to being the same, it'll be closer to positive 1. If they're the opposite, it'll be closer to negative 1. So I'm just multiplying the value of the direction based upon that result. So that's why I'm using the sign there, because that's going to return minus 1 or 1 based on that. But that seems to have done the trick. But as I said, it's not perfect because it doesn't work for crisscrossed splines. Like, for example, if I drag this point here and put it over here, like it's going based upon the center point, and the center point is a bit confused now because it doesn't know, because they're not uniformly surrounding the place. So it gets a bit muddled. But if you don't do it crisscross, then that's fine. Whew. Okay, next question. Trupping up. How to make a blood effect so that when you get low on HP, there's a ring that forms, and the lower the HP, the bigger the ring gets. Sure. Let me. So, are you doing like do you mean around the screen type thing? I can show you how you do that. We can make a material, blood effect. Open this up. And first of all, you want to get the effect. So this needs to be a UI thing. So we change it to a UI mode. And also we're going to make it translucent. And to do this, we're going to use a sphere mask. The A is going to be the texture coordinates node. B is going to be a 2 vector of 0.5, 0.5. That's the center of the circle or sphere. Going there. The radius here, we're going to do as 0.5 for now. We'll be changing that. And the radius is 0. Okay. And if I put that into the final color, you get that effect. Now, if I were to multiply that, not multiply it, but if I were to do 1 minus, that'll flip it around and do that. Now, obviously, that is way too much, yeah? So that's where the radius comes in. I'm going to change that to 1. Maybe a bit more. 5. Something like that. Yeah? No. What am I doing? One. That's right, isn't it? 0.5. 0.25. I did this the other day. What did I do it as? Yeah, I mean, that'd be fine. We'll do 5. Sure. We'll multiply that by color. Multiply that. Final color. And the color we're going to do is red. Like so. Okay. The opacity is going to be also this node here. Okay. So it's going to be quite faint. I mean, I don't think it's going to come from the stream. It's quite faint there. But we go and add a widget for this. Blood effect. Oh. And in here we're going to have the image like that, and then we choose our brush. Blood effect. Maybe a bit too faint. I might have to change that from 5 to like 3 or something. Yeah, there we go. That's a bit better. Right, so you want it to work out what the maximum's going to be of this thing. Okay, so let's maybe make it a bit darker, make it closer to 2 maybe. Yeah, there you go. Right, so that's the maximum it'll be. Right. And what you could do is you can change the render opacity based upon the damage you've taken. Right, your health on your character. So if I go to my player character and I do, let me just get rid of this stuff here. If I go onto my HP bar, HP, and that'll be a float, and I set that to 1, so full health, and left mouse button, I'm going to apply damage to myself, and damage actor would be self, base damage would be 0.1, sure, damage causer will be self as well. And we'll do any damage event and make it work on the HP here. So get HP, subtract damage, and then set the HP there. Okay, simple as that. Right, so that'll do that. Now we need to add the widget to our screen. So if I go to this widget here, I need to make it variable, this image, based upon the amount of damage we get. So on my pre-construct or construct, whichever one we do, I'm going to get the player character, bind, cast to first of all our third-person character. I'm going to promote that to a variable because we're going to need it later. But then I'm going to bind the event to take any damage. So when I receive any damage, we're going to tell this thing to update. So customize, custom event, damage. And what I want to do in here is I just want to change the image's render opacity. So set render opacity there, based upon my third person character's health. HP, sorry. Yeah, HP. Like that. So when our render opacity is at full, oh, we want to flip it actually, not that. Let's flip that. Right. Put that at the bottom. There you go. 1, and then put that in there. So when it's set to 1, the full health is 1. This would be 0. Okay. So start at 0, and then on a player character, I'm just going to add it to our viewport. Let's do it here. It'll make it part of your HUD. Blood effect, and then add to viewport. So if I left mouse button, I'm going to deal damage to myself. You see the screen get redder and redder. Yeah. And again, you can customize how intense that is by going into here and just tweaking this radius here. So I've changed it back down to 1. So it's quite red around the edges there. Do that. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So you could do that. And same deal when you want to heal the player. You make it go away. Yeah. Okay, only room for a couple more questions, so let's take a look what else we got in here. Yeah, so what DA Clarkson is literally what I just did with the spline thing. Like, what he's saying there is exactly what I just did. You work out the average, work out if they're inclusive or not by looking at which direction they are pointing towards the center, but it's not respective of crossovers. It's not entirely accurate when it does that. And it doesn't matter if it's a linear or curved one, it's the same problem. The new YouTube thing in the middle. Yeah, it's a new thing I brought up because trying out new things. So I need to give it more time to do it. So CMV asking what's the best way of opening a level than going to a specific location. Try to open level by name and then set player transform a set player location, but it just sets to the player start. I've got a video on that. Check out level transitions. It's a 2-part video where I talk about how that works and how you use player starts correctly to solve that exact problem. So do check that out. Oh, I'm sure there is a way, DA. It's just tricky. I'm not entirely certain of how you do it. I mean, you could it's probably going to be relative to the next point, working out like the angle between the points to work out whether the angle is acute or not. Something along those lines, I would imagine. I mean, that could be a way of doing it if we're working out if the angle is acute. Acute means anything less than 90 degrees. Because, like, for example, this point... just going to let me do it. This point here and its next point in the line, that's an acute angle. That line there is acute. Yeah, because it bends at a sharp angle. Whereas this line between no, yeah, if it's acute, it would go on the inside, so it would go on the inside there, and even here, the next point in the line, it will go to acute, and it will go on that side there too. But then that won't work. You have to get each position rather than each point, wouldn't you? I don't know. There's a I'm sure there's a way of doing it like that. It's gonna. I'm sure it's gonna have to do something with working out acute and obtuse angles. Yeah. Maybe I have to test LR once. No, not true, because you don't know which. Because again, crossovers, it could go either way. There's no way to know. Because it, like, for example, on this line, These ones on the inside are here, but these ones on the outside here, so it won't work. Anyway, next question. CM, yeah, again, check. If you're talking about loading the game, reloading where the player saved their location. So yes, there's a. You basically want to go into your game mode and override a function which is spawn default pawn at transform. So this you can override where they're going to spawn in at. Okay, so this gets called when the player's been told to restart. You can just get the transform from wherever it is, a save file or whatever, and you put in yeah, you just do this. No, what do you do? Yeah, you just do no, that's different. What's this? Yeah, you just put in here like spawn actor of class and pop that in there, and then it should do that. But yeah, you're overriding these functions here. There's another one as well where you override for player start, which is this one. But yeah, okay. Last question, I think. Maybe, unless it's a quick one. Let's have a quick one. Good night, Sohaib. Thank you, UT. How would you go about spawning and despawning an AI companion on the press of a button? Yeah, so let me delete this. I mean, I haven't got AI thing on it, but essentially what you're doing is, let's say we're pushing button here. Okay, so that's our button, for example. You got spawn AI from class. Choose the class. Okay. Choose a behavior tree it's going to be running. Then promote it to a variable. Okay. AI companion, for example. And then go back to the start of your function here. And then drag out AI companion. Oh. Into a get and convert to validated get. If it's valid, that means it's already been spawned in. So, is not valid will go down to spawn AI from class. If it is valid, you'll take the AI companion and destroy actor. And that'll despawn them. Okay, and that's basically it. Yeah. And respawning around a certain radius around the character. Yeah, so our location here, you just get the actor location. And you want to find a random reachable point in radius. Radius of 500, for example, and that'll give you a random location around you in a circle. Okay, and that's a good way to do it as well, because it'll spawn it on the nav mesh, so you guaranteed it won't spawn it in a place where it gets stuck. It will spawn in and use the nav mesh correctly. Hey Ryan, is there a way to do an event X times per second? I'm building a MIDI event generator with a rate control. Any advice would be welcome. I can't get timers working how I'd like. It would be timers if you want to do it the way you're describing. So when you do set timer by event, and let's say you've got a custom event here. Okay, this is like print, whatever. The time is a divide by, and you put in 1 at the top. That's your second. And you put in how many times per second you want it to go into in the bottom here. So if I want it to happen 5 times per second, I can make it now print that out every fifth of a second, basically. So print string. Oh. Print string. Hello. And make it last for 1 second here. and that will then, on a loop, trigger it once 5 times per second. Yeah, 1 divided by 5 gives you 5 times per second. That would be the way to do it. I don't know why you're saying it's not working for you too well, or you're having some issues with it, but that's kind of it, really. Yeah, and you can control the rate here with a variable, I guess, if you want. Yeah. You're welcome, Dan. Yeah. Okay, very last question then. So autism. Oh no, 2 last questions. Autism now. But RTS medieval building game. We want to make a worker NPC move to woodcutter. I don't know what to get the position of it. I am new. Check out my RTS series. I cover it there. Butters Game World. Hey, I'm using Paragon Minions asset pack, and the death animation ends in midair without them ending on the floor. Can I quickly add the last bit of animation in engine? Yes, you can do like. I mean, it shouldn't be doing that, but you can do additive animations to your animations you have. So, I mean, this isn't going to be correct, but if I go into an animation here, I'll show you the trick. So let's say jump. That is our death animation, okay? You can go to the skeleton tree, find the root or pelvis, whatever it is you want to change. Add key. Move it down. Add key. And it's now stuck down there. Okay, so you can edit the animation slightly by doing that. But yeah, there you go. That'll do for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming by for question time. This weekend, we are doing Let's Create for Crash Bandicoot. So if you want to learn how to make Crash Bandicoot type gameplay, head over to our live stream on Saturday to catch that live and follow along as I try to figure it out live for you and talk about the process of how I'm figuring things out. And yeah, all the rest of that. Now, what's coming on the channel? Luke's series, animator Luke, his series is starting very, very soon on the YouTube channel. It's already over on the Patreon page. And Luke's actually got a product available to buy in the current Epic sale. So check out the Epic sale and check out my community post. You would have seen a link to it about the building a character with climbing stuff in it. So if you want to do like all sorts of climbing animations, not only does it come with all the animations in UE5 and UE4, but also comes with a character pre-coded to work with it. So check it out, it's really cool. And it's about, I think it's like half off at the moment in the sale, so do check it out. Over on the Patreon page, we are starting to talk about smart objects, the continuation of the survival series, and more procedural content generation happening over there this week, as well as many other little how-to videos and other things coming out too. So thank you so much to all the Patreon members for supporting the channel over on patreon.com/Ryan Laley. Thank you so much for coming by and watching live with me and keeping me company. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you all next time. Good night, everyone.